So this is the way how if statement, conditional control will works in parallel. Now we will see iterative control. Iterative control, under iterative control, here instead of branching, how control works, it will repeat the number of statements for many number of times. That is the one way. Second way is it repeats a block of statements until the condition was satisfied. So these are the two ways how iteration control will work. First is it will repeat the block of statements for a number of times, for a stated number of times. Second is a block of statements will be repeatedly executed until a condition was satisfied. So under this, in parallel, we are having for loop, while loop, do while loop, for each loop and until loop. These are the 5 loops we are having in parallel in the iterative control. So in iterative control, you are having for loop, while loop, do while loop and for each loop and until loop. These are the different loops we are having. For loop is nothing but it is used to repeat the number of statements for a known number of times. You know how many number of times those statements are executed. During that time you can go with the for loop. You don't know the number of times, but you can execute the block of statement until a condition was satisfied. In such a case, you prefer the while loop. Do while loop, the difference between while loop and do while loop is, do while loop also acts as a while loop only. While loop executes only when the condition was satisfied. But do while loop will execute the set of statements first. Then it will verify the condition. That is the difference between these two. Whether the condition was satisfied or not, that is the secondary. First it will execute the block of statements, then it will verify the condition. That means though condition fails also, one time block of statements will execute. Now coming to the for each statement. The for each statement is used when you are having the list of items and the same condition has to be iterated on the list of items, then for each loop will be useful. Now coming to the until loop is same as the while loop only. The main difference is while loop will be executed when the condition was true. Until loop will be executed when the condition was false. This is the difference. Please try to remember. Now we will see one by one. First, we will start with the while loop. First, you see here, this is a do while loop. In case of do while loop, you see here, first start do and statements, then while execute the condition. So this is the way. Now coming to here you are having a variable number, you are initializing with 90. Next what you are doing, you are incrementing this number plus plus. Here you are writing number plus plus. This is the unary operator. Whatever number is there, that will be incremented, post incremented. So your number is 90. Now at first time, after coming over here, it becomes 91. After executing here, it becomes a 91. So if you print your number here, now it becomes 91 here. Now you are checking here condition. What was the condition? While number is less than 100. Now your number contains 91. 91 is less than 100. It is true. So now it go back to the initial loop. So it again go to the do. Again what happens? Again increments. In the next time it becomes 92. Again it will print. Again condition is true. It comes here. Until up to which point it will iterate? When it becomes 100. 99 also it will be okay. It will execute. So now your number becomes 100. Whenever it becomes even 100 also print. You can print 100. By it becoming 100, this condition will be failed. Then it comes back to it will stop execution. Now if you verify here, even you are able to print the 100 also, since first incrementation was taking place, then checking was happening. That is the reason you are able to print the 100 also. Now see the for loop. In case of for loop, as you are seeing here, for loop is having three parts. One is the initialization, next one is the condition, last is the increment or decrement. As already I mentioned, for loop is used for the execution of a statements, block of statements for known number of times. So that is the purpose of this. This statement is for known number of times to execute the block of statements for known number of times. Now coming to the syntax, for is the keyword, this is the keyword, for is the keyword, this is the first part, initialization, it is having three parts. First part is the initialization, second part is the condition, third part is the increment or decrement. So your first statement comprises of three parts. First part is the initialization, second part is the condition, third part is the increment or decrement. After that you have to execute the block of statements. Now let us see the same example. In this case, so earlier initialization was done separately, increment is done separately. In while loop we did all the three parts in separate way. Now coming to the first statement, this is your for. First you are initialized with 100 and your condition is 100 is your number. Here variable is the number, that number was initialized to 100, that is the first part. Second part is the condition. What was the condition we have to check? The condition we have to check here is number should be less than 104. Third case is number is equal to number plus 1. This is the, even instead of writing like this, you can write this also, number plus 1. This is the short form. This is equivalent to representing this also. So even you can write like this, number plus. Post increment also you can represent. Then you can print the number. What is the value of the number that you have to print? So let us start with the 100. First to check that. So now condition was satisfied. Now increment the number. It becomes the 101. So initial value. So 101 can be printed. Next is the, so 101 again verify. It will be true. Now it becomes the 102. This can be printed. Now in the same way until 105, there it fails. So up to 104 you can able to print. So this is the way. Here we clearly know how many number of times your loop has to repeat. Only 5 number of times. You know the initial value, you know the condition. So you know how many number of times you have to execute the loop also, you can know here. Now coming to the for each loop. As already I mentioned, for each loop is mainly for if the list of values are present. If the list of values are present within the condition, then you can go with the for each loop. Every item can be printed. So now coming to the syntax of this is, syntax is for each is the keyword. This is the for each is the keyword. This is the variable. Variable, whatever the variable you have to take variable. Here variable should take the list kind of variable you have to take. Number of items should be there. Then you have to execute the statements. So this is the syntax of the for each statement. For that, again here I have given the two examples. This is the string data type. This is nothing but a integer. So if you come here, your variable was initialized. Friends is the first variable is the iterate friends. So iterate, you know that it is a array kind. Earlier we studied 3 important data types. So it must be initialized with array. Array here comprises Ajit, Tom, Steve, Lisa and Kev. Four members are present. For each, so variable is nothing but iterate friends. Iterate friends variable is equal to star as the variable. You see this is the variable. Friends list is nothing but list is present in the friends. print str. So now it will iterate on all the, what are the items present. Ajit is there, Tom is there. It has to print Ajit, Tom, Steve, Lisa and Kev. So this is the how it is printing. Now in the same way here athlete list, this is the variable. Athlete itself indicates it is a array kind of data. Now you can initialize with many values. For each, this is a keyword, this is a athlete item, this is a dollar item is nothing but item is the variable, scalar variable. List, athlete list is the defined list. Now see, start the loop. Sum is equal to sum plus item. So sum is nothing but initially it is 0. Now it plus item. First item is 1. So it will print 1. Next is sum into the sum. Now you are storing 1. 1 plus next is 2. Now it prints 2. Like that it will repeat all the time. Now you perform the same with respect to multiplication on the same list operator. This is the one more example. You please evaluate that. This is what is the for each statement. For each statement is working on all the items of the list statement. This is the way how for each statement will be working in the call. Now we will see the until loop. So far we discussed about the while loop, for each loop. Now we are coming to the until loop. Do while loop also we discussed. Now coming to the until loop. Already I mentioned until loop behaves just like a while loop. First point you have to remember this. Until loop behaves just like a while loop. Only thing is it will execute the loop when the condition is false. When the condition is false only it will execute. Now coming to the syntax, until is the keyword. This is the keyword. Here you are writing the condition and start the block of statements. These are the block of statements. Now end it. Now see, in this example, first initialize the number. This is like while. So initialization should be done outside the loop. First initialize the number is equal to 10 until number greater than 15. Open the block of statement, print the number post increment output. Now see, first number is 10. 10 is greater than 15. So failure. This is a failure. Now failure, during the fail case only until loop will work. So printing of that will be printed. Now number becomes the 11. 11 also greater than 15 failed condition, that can be printed. 12 can be printed. Now again number becomes 13, that can be printed. Number becomes 14, that can be printed. When number becomes 15 greater than 15, it is a true condition. Or in this case 15 is nothing, greater than 15 is not false. Equivalent is true, that's why it can come out of the loop, it cannot be printed. So this is the way how this can be working. So now see the execution of the until loop. How until loop will be evaluated. Whenever the condition is false, then only statements inside the loop will be executed. After the execution of the condition, again re-evaluated. This re-evaluation process will be continuous until condition returns to the true condition. Once the condition returns true, control gets transferred to the next part of the statements which are present in your program. So this is the way how it will takes place. Already we discussed the nested if. In case of nested if, there are a lot of time you need. We are having a concurrent execution. In VHDL we are having concurrent execution. There we need not check for all the failure conditions. Whichever will be invoked, only that condition verification is enough. Here also we are having that kind of facility with the help of the switch case. Switch case is whichever condition will be execute for true, only that statement, that set of statements will be executed. So now coming to the syntax, given is the keyword argument. Next is the when is the keyword, you specify the condition, specify the block of statements. After all the cases are over, last at the end you have to specify one default condition, default case. So this is the way how switch can be written here. Now we will see the example. Now see, this also we have done earlier. First, warnings is required, since any further invocation is required, that can be done with the help of the warning. First, print statement and give the number. Next, given number, given is the keyword we have seen earlier. Pass the parameter into that, now start executing. When the number greater than 10, now whatever to be executed, you write that. When number is less than 10, so which case is true? Instead of nesting, it directly come to the point, it execute. If all the conditions are not working, then it will tries to execute the default condition. This is the way how switch case will work in the Perl. This will, because of this, you can reduce the computational time and computational complexity. This is useful for us. Now see, earlier so far we discussed if statement, while statement, do while statement, for statement, and for each statement until. So all the branching as well as the looping conditions are over. Now we will see some statements which are useful or which are necessary for controlling the loops. Continue statement. When this continue statement will be useful for us is, it will be useful in the while or for each statement. Suppose conditions are fail, or then also you have to continue the execution, or block of statements are to be executed. In such a case, if you write down the continue, it will work that, it will execute that block. Now coming to the next, when we are going to use the next statement will be useful to tell the execution to continue with the next iteration of the loop by stopping the current. So whatever current is there, that can be stopped and it can move to the next. It can be used in do while or do until, it can be used. If continue block is present, it will also executed. Redo statement, it can be used, it restarts the loop without evaluating the condition again. Continue the block is not executed if is present. Last is nothing but it executes the loop. Continue block is not executed if is present. Exit is nothing but it will be terminating the program. Exit 0 indicates the success. Exit 1 indicates the exit but with error. And it cannot display the messages. Just simply control will be executed. It can't give any error messages. And already we know choices. Choices, if when condition is there we are presenting multiple cases. When we want to present multiple cases, you can define the choices. Based on the choices, your control can execute from that. Die statement, already we have seen the importance of the die statement when we are discussing about the standard input and standard output. So die is nothing but it will be working with the std error built-in function. The purpose of the die statement is to report some error messages. For that purpose we are using the die statement. So this is all about the control statements. So thank you very much. So please go back to your home, and already we are providing the assignment as well as the handout. First go through the handout so that you can find many number of examples. After learning them clearly, you please try to work on the exercise part, assignment part. So now coming to the end, today we covered control structures of the Perl. We clearly known that there are two kinds of control structures are existing in the Perl. One are the branching kind, another one is the loop kind. Branching kind can be used with the help of the if statements. Looping statements are nothing but here we are having for, while do, until. These are the looping statements. If you know the number of iterations, number of times your block of statements are executed, then you go and select the for loop. If you don't know the number of times your loop has to be repeated, you know only the condition, then you select the while. With at least one time, without checking at least one time your loop has to be executed means you prefer the do while. And if you want to check with the false condition, already we know do or do while will be executed when condition is true, but you want to perform the block of statements execution when the condition fails, then you work with the until statement. And when the loop has to be transferred for a next iteration, or when the loop has to be exited, then you have to use all these miscellaneous statements. Right? Thank you one and all. Thank you so much.